Dzień dobry Państwu, Szanowni Państwo, serdecznie witam na naszej corocznej konferencji wynikowej. Dziękuję za Państwa obecność, zaufanie i poświęcony czas. W grupie Budimex patrzymy na biznes w długim horyzoncie, dlatego dzisiaj chcemy nie tylko podsumować ostatnie 12 miesięcy, chcemy również spojrzeć na rozwój naszej firmy w perspektywie całej dekady. Pokażemy, jak konsekwencje zwiększamy skalę naszej działalności, utrzymujemy stabilną rentowność oraz budujemy silny portfel zamówień na kolejne lata. Ale pozwólcie Państwo, że rozpoczniemy krótkim filmem obrazującym nasze osiągnięcia w roku 2025.
Rok 2025 był dla grupy Budimex niezwykle owocny. Zakończyliśmy go z rekordowym portfelem zamówień, a dywidendy wypłaciliśmy już po raz 17 z rzędu. To potwierdzenie naszej stabilności i silnej pozycji rynkowej. Zrealizowaliśmy szereg kluczowych dla Polski inwestycji strategicznych. Oddaliśmy do użytku terminal T3 w Baltic Hub oraz długo wyczekiwaną obwodnicę metropolitalną Trójmiasta, stanowiącą istotny element transportu krajowego i międzynarodowego. Wzmocniliśmy bezpieczeństwo energetyczne stolicy, budując gazociąg Rembelszczyzna-Mory oraz nowoczesną kotłownię w ciepłowni Kawęczyn. Sukcesem zakończyliśmy także modernizację stacji Warszawa Zachodnia, jednej z największych inwestycji kolejowych ostatnich dziesięcioleci w Polsce. Od lat umacniamy pozycję lidera w sektorze kolejowym. W ramach projektu Podłęże-Piekiełko budujemy tunel, który znacząco skróci podróż między Limanową a Nowym Sączem. Jako zaufany partner państwa prowadzimy już pierwsze prace przy trasie kolei dużych prędkości w Łodzi. Zbudujemy odcinek H linii kolejowej nr 622 Szczyżyc-Tymbark oraz linię kolejową Czachówek Wschodni-Pilawa z mostem nad Wisłą. Od lat jesteśmy liderem budownictwa drogowego. Rozpoczęliśmy realizację nowych inwestycji, podpisując umowę na zaprojektowanie i budowę drogi ekspresowej S11. Jako polska firma konsekwentnie budujemy nowoczesną infrastrukturę i wspieramy gospodarkę, co potwierdza nagroda dla największego płatnika podatku CIT w branży budowlanej. Konsekwentnie dywersyfikujemy nasz biznes i rośniemy na rynkach międzynarodowych. W Czechach wznosimy największy od dekad zbiornik przeciwpowodziowy, a w Estonii realizujemy tamtejszy fragment trasy Rail Baltica. W Polsce budujemy również dla kultury i edukacji, realizując Centrum Himalaizmu w Katowicach oraz modernizując Teatr Powszechny w Łodzi. Nasza jakość została doceniona licznymi nagrodami. Od głównej nagrody SARP przez Oscary budowlane, aż po tytuł budowy XXI wieku i certyfikat IRIS. Zostaliśmy także uznani za firmę numer 1 w rankingu Top Marka. Dynamicznie rozwijają się spółki z naszej grupy. Mostostal Kraków umacnia kompetencje w energetyce jądrowej we współpracy z Westinghouse. Realizuje nowoczesne centrum przesiadkowe w Legnicy i odnosi sukcesy na arenie międzynarodowej, trafiając do finału konkursu Steel Prize za modernizację areny w Sztokholmie. FB Service skutecznie rozwija portfel kontraktów w obszarze utrzymania infrastruktury drogowej oraz obsługi technicznej obiektów, czego przykładem jest opieka nad kompleksem Sądu Najwyższego. Spółka inwestuje także w innowacje, uruchamiając nowoczesne laboratorium analiz paliw alternatywnych. W centrum naszych działań pozostają ludzie i środowisko. Rozwijamy Akademię Przyszłości, wspieramy młodych liderów budownictwa i dbamy o społeczności, tworząc kolejne strefy rodzica oraz sadząc tysiące drzew. Budujemy fundamenty zeroemisyjnej przyszłości dzięki farmie fotowoltaicznej Azalia oraz rozbudowie sieci ładowarek Budimex Mobility. Rok kończymy w imponującym tempie. Znacznie przed terminem odbudowaliśmy most w Stroniu Śląskim oraz ukończyliśmy obwodnicę Drezdenka wraz z nowym mostem nad Doliną Noteci. Budimex. Budujemy lepszą przyszłość.
Dzień dobry jeszcze raz. Szanowni Państwo, pozwólcie, że rozpocznę od przywitania naszego zespołu i za przedstawienia naszego zespołu. Po mojej lewej stronie pani Ania Karis-Sosińska, członek zarządu, dyrektor pionu zarządzania zasobami ludzkimi.
Dzień dobry.
Cezary Łysenko, członek zarządu, dyrektor operacyjny budownictwa infrastrukturalnego i ogólnego.
Dzień dobry.
Alvaro Garcia Martinez, prezes zarządu spółki FB Service. Po mojej prawej stronie Marcin Węgłowski, członek zarządu, dyrektor pionu finansowego. Maciek Olek, członek zarządu, dyrektor operacyjny odpowiadający za infrastrukturę kolejową, energetyczną i przemysłową.
Dzień dobry Państwu.
I Jacek Lech, prezes zarządu spółki Mostostal Kraków.
Dzień dobry, witam wszystkich.
Szanowni Państwo, pozwólcie, że zanim przejdziemy do prezentacji wyników finansowych naszej grupy, chciałbym rozpocząć od przedstawienia kluczowych dokonań grupy Budimex z roku 2025. Zakończyliśmy rok bardzo silnym portfelem zamówień o wartości 16,2 miliarda złotych oraz 5,7 miliarda złotych kontraktów w tak zwanej poczekalni, czyli postępowań przetargowych, w której nasze oferty zostały ocenione najwyżej i oczekujemy na podpisanie umów. Osiągnęliśmy również rekordowy poziom rentowności. Marża EBIT w segmencie budowlanym wyniosła 9,5%, co stanowi 1,5 punktu procentowego rok do roku, ale również osiągnęliśmy bardzo dobry wynik w segmencie usługowym, ponad 11,2%, co stanowi poprawę 2,5 punktu procentowego rok do roku. Szanowni Państwo, to najwyższa rentowność od ponad 60 lat od początku istnienia grupy Budimex, a więc chcieliśmy podkreślić, że stabilnie zwiększamy swoją rentowność pomimo trudnych sytuacji, wyzywających sytuacji na rynku. W minionym roku osiągnęliśmy także politykę dywidendową, przedłużyliśmy strategię związaną z dywidendą na lata 2025-2030, zakładającą wypłatę 100% zysku netto w formie dywidendy dla naszych akcjonariuszy. Jednocześnie podpisaliśmy kluczowe kontrakty, w tym umowę w ramach projektu na terenie Estonii. Weszliśmy na to jest kolejny odcinek realizowany przez naszą spółkę poza granicami Polski, ale o tym powiemy za chwilę Państwu szczegółowo, omawiając rynek kolejowy. Szanowni Państwo, przechodząc do danych makroekonomicznych, Marcin.
Tak, zanim przejdę do tych danych makroekonomicznych, taki mały disclaimer, jakby nasza prezentacja jakby nie uwzględnia tego, co się dzieje na Bliskim Wschodzie, epickiej furii. Także analizujemy oczywiście prawdopodobnie jak wszyscy, jak to może mieć wpływ na naszą działalność, natomiast dzisiaj po prostu za wcześnie jest na podsumowanie. I teraz wracając do tego, co się dzieje na naszym podwórku w Polsce, no to wygląda bardzo dobrze. Mówiąc o wzroście PKB, który jest na 3,4%, jest to przyzwoity wzrost z bardzo dobrą perspektywą na lata następne, powyżej 3%. Inflacja wygląda na to, że jest opanowana, średnioroczna 3,6%, ale już na koniec roku 2,4%, czyli poniżej celu inflacyjnego. Stopy procentowe na koniec roku 4%. Pierwsza miała już miejsce wczoraj na 3,75%, prawdopodobnie nastąpi kolejna w kolejnych latach. Przechodząc do rynku budowlanego i PMI, no PMI mógłby być lepszy, biorąc pod uwagę to, jak patrzymy na nasze dane makroekonomiczne, te główne. Jest on wciąż poniżej 50%, poniżej średniej europejskiej. Głównie spowodowane w tym, że są opóźnienia po stronie inwestycji w Polsce i mam nadzieję, że to w kolejnych latach ulegnie zmianie. A jak popatrzymy sobie, jak wygląda... przepraszam, nie wiem, dlaczego się nie przesuwa. Okej, dobrze. To ten PMI to jest ten wykres na górze. Poniżej mamy dynamikę produkcji budowlanej w cenach stałych. Na kolejnym slajdzie pokażę, jak to wygląda w cenach bieżących, ale w cenach stałych, jak popatrzymy, to trzeci rok z rzędu mamy minus w budownictwie ogólnym, drugi rok z rzędu w infrastrukturze. Odbiło w roku 2025 przy budownictwie specjalistycznym, w sumie wyszło to na mały plus 0,7%. Natomiast ten duży spadek jakby z jednej strony możemy powiedzieć, że jest źle w 2024, czy było źle w 2025, ale biorąc pod uwagę te inwestycje, które się czekają, te kontrakty, które są rozstrzygnięcie, spodziewamy się, że ten przyrost w roku 2026 i 2027 nastąpi, co oczywiście też będzie miało skutki, o których dalej powiem. Produkcja budowlano-montażowa w cenach niestałych, tylko w cenach nominalnych, to już wygląda trochę lepiej. To jest rok 2025, jest przyrost i z taką perspektywą, że co roku będzie ten przyrost między 3 a 5%. Dodatkowo pokazujemy, jak to wygląda w tych krajach, w których prowadzimy działalność, w Czechach i na Słowacji i w Niemczech, i te poziomy będą bardzo podobne.
So there's contractors with stable backlogs. There's companies with a shorter backlog that have to fight on the market for new contracts, have worse reasons with some decreasing trend.
This also translates for the prices of materials. 2025 was stable, 2026 probably also, but as we expect this large increase in the number of new projects, this will cause, according to our internal analysis, an increase in asphalt, and in steel we still don't know what will be the effect of this epic fury. So we are expecting some increase. This is a basic scenario. The reality may be more pessimistic, the dynamics may be higher, and we need to consider this in the tenders we're placing. And now to sum up, inflation under control, PMI unexpectedly low, but we have this plus, a green plus, because we expect the situation to improve in the Polish economy. Material prices at the time are stable, but we might have some surprises here. Accessibility of workforce is negative, as in every sector. Interest rates are going down, which is an incentive to the economy. And the EU funds at the high level as always. So in general, in Poland, good. We're expecting the effect of the global situation. Thank you very much, Marcin. Ladies and gentlemen, we've already told you we will comment on Budimex in large perspective. Thus, we have this slide. We've been developing our activities for many years now. This is a Budimex Group. We have almost 40 entities executing works in different areas. We've centered here on the main companies in 5 segments. The first one is the construction segment with main company Budimex, Budimex Kolejnictwo, Budimex Budownictwo, Mostostal Kraków and Konstalex. These are the contracts executed mainly in Poland and mainly in the construction segment. On foreign markets, Budimex Bau, Rail BX, Budimex Czechia, Budimex Slovakia, Budimex Latvia and Budimex Estonia. So, as you see, we entered the Estonian market. In services, we have FB Service and circular construction, which is a segment that is growing very well. They increase profitability. We also have renewables, BXF Energia, Magnolia Wind Farm, Camellia Photovoltaic Farm, Azalea Photovoltaic Farm. We've already are selling our power, 100 megawatts. And among others, we have Budimex Mobility, Budimex Parking Wrocław, and Budimex Development. Before continuing on the detailed results of the this year, I would like you to see our activity in a broader perspective. If you see the last 10 years, you would see one thing clearly: our revenues have doubled, nearly doubled. Also, in spite of a difficult environment on the market, which is COVID and war in Ukraine, we've maintained our profitability or even increased it. Also, we are creating our portfolio with consistency. It's it doubled in 10 years. So what you see is the systematic growth of our activities and a very strong backlog of projects, which is a strong foundation for the following years. And now, as for the financial results of 2025, the revenue in 2025, 9,439,000,000, which is 3.5% higher than the last year. Also, we have eliminated 133 million. This is important and is going to grow in the next years. As far as EBIT, we achieved 892 million, which is 9.5% versus 8.1% in the previous year. As I said, the last year has been a time of very intense activity in our company, and it shows. Net profit is 7.9%, which translates into 748 million of net profit. And now, as for the financial results by segments, revenue of the construction segment in 2025 was of 8,629,000,000 zlotys, which is 4.9% of increase year on year, maintaining profitability or improving profitability and gross margin, which is 9.5% in construction. Here, the driving force was the general construction. We finished some difficult contracts, and we are very selective at the time of the bidding. Also, in the services segment, we've reached a very good revenue, very good results. We increased considerably the profitability, which reached the level of 105 million zlotys, which gives us 11.2% versus 82 million in the year before. We will comment further on that later. Alvaro will present these results. And now, as for the cash position, it's very high at the beginning of the year, 2.6 billion zlotys. You may see in the small letter, we are investing a lot in the Polish economy, but also in the development of our activities. We have 364 million zlotys investing in fixed assets and 252 million in new areas of activity, which is renewables and real estate projects. I'm talking about Poznań, Witosa project, but also new areas such as data center. We've invested estimated more than 600 million zlotys, thus developing Polish economy. This is a new slide, quite interesting, as you see. It shows the extent to which we invest in our company, how many resources we invest to develop the company. We had 142 million of capex in 2023, and if you look at 2025, it's 364 million, which is more than double. Also, as you see, it's evenly distributed between different sectors like roads, railway, services, renewables, and other investment over the whole country. About dividend, we are proud of having shared our profit with the shareholders. We have paid 240 zlotys per share throughout the years, and we are executing this policy of paying 100% of the profit in form of the dividend, and we are willing to continue that way. And now, order book and contract signed. We have contract signed in 2025. We've signed 6.2 billion zlotys of contracts. If you compare it to the previous year, it looks low, but we are awaiting the signature of 5.7 billion zlotys in contracts, and we will relate to this at the end of our presentation. I must admit that year after year we see the expanding processes of signature. It was 3 months, the signature process, and now it's about a year. So many of the contracts are signed in the next year after the tender. We have some contracts like Szczyżyc-Tymbark, S11 Expressway, Ostrzeszów-Kępno. We have the Warzymice bypass, more than 350 million zlotys. Włocławek Hospital, 192 million. And Gorzów bypass, stage 2, more than 180 million zlotys in our portfolio. What you may see is that we're very diversified. This improves our profitability and protects us when one of the sectors has some difficult times. So because of all that, in 2025 we increased our presence in the railway and energy sector. And now contracts awaiting signature. As I said, it's 5.8 billion zlotys awaiting signature, and the most important are Podłęże-Gdów railway contract, 1.8 billion zlotys. Design and build E20 railway line Czachówek Wschodni-Pilawa, almost 1 billion zlotys worth of works. Gas compression station Lwówek, we've already signed this one, 430 million. Expressway S8 Wrocław-Kłodzko, 312. We also signed this one in January. And we have Szczekociny-Goleniów. There are more of those. I've only said 5 biggest, but what's important is that we are only waiting for the invitation to sign the contract. And now order book, 16.2 billion zlotys at the end of the year. And I would like to say that there were more than 18 billion of order book during the year. And you can see that we have works for next 3 years according to the maturity of this portfolio. We are not participating in the price war. We are trying to foresee the changes of the prices, and as our CFO said, we expect the increase of the prices of the materials, and we need to take that into account in our tenders. There is going to be an accumulation on the market, and we need to be prepared for the increase of the prices of some key materials like steel, aggregates, and we need to foresee all of that. Also, our contracts have the indexation clauses, but that's only 50% of hedging. That's only 50%, so we need to foresee in a rational way the increase of the prices of materials and of the workforce. So, we have 6 sections of S10. We won 6 sections by 2.5 billion and 6% of the advancement of the project. Our revenues were lower because of the preparation of the documentation, and this year we're going to start the works, so there is going to be some serious revenue on that contract because of the execution. Then you have Kościerzyna-Somonino railway contract, 14% of advance, and the value of the contract is of 1 billion zlotys. This will improve our revenue. Next one is Tychy Most-Wisła railway line with more than 60% of progress. We have railway line 104 and S19, quite advanced in terms of the projects.
Road segment now, Czarek. The year 2025 was a year of stability for our division. We informed you in the first half of the year that we were waiting for more activity on behalf of our clients. It took place, but in 2 last quarters. So we signed more than 2.2 billion in road segment. Our order book in this segment is of 9.3 billion, which gives us work for between 2 or 3 years. The General Directorate announced 36 contracts, big contracts, including sections of A2 for 1.5 billion. Last year, in comparison to the year 2024, there were few contracts for voivodeship roads. We obviously conduct very selective bidding. We don't participate in this prize fight, and we are still awaiting signature of 1.3 billion zlotys of contracts. And now going to the year 2026, General Direction wants to spend over 20 billion for investments. We have to stress that the tenders to be announced will have the value of 12 billion zlotys. We hope the market situation will be stable and will be able to participate in those tenders. It's very important what we said at the beginning of this meeting. We always treat our activity long term. The most important thing is that the program for national roads and motorways is still continued. We will be able then to prepare ourselves also in terms of capex. Also, some local roads will be built because we can see many activity in that field as well. So summing up, the construction market for Budimex is very optimistic for the future. So now going to the energy and railway segment, Maciek. Good morning again. For the railway and energy sector, it was the first year of joint competencies in those areas. As we mentioned in previous conferences, we decided to move our competencies in the field of energy works to the railway market in order to be able to execute also catenary works and to be able to do it using our own forces. We fulfilled our operational and strategic goals. We submitted 10 very favorable, the best of us for PLK. Not all of those bids translated into new contracts because the signing process of the won bids is quite long. That is why those contracts are still awaiting signature over 3 billion zlotys, 3.2. It was the year of finalizing Warszawa Zachodnia station, Chabówka contract, Ełk station. We continued our works on strategic contracts such as Krzewina, construction of Limanowa, Tychy Most Wisła. We started works on the line Czyżew-Stębark and we started works near Żagań. As far as perspectives for this segment are concerned, we feel that they are very good. The main clients, that is PSE, PLK, they announced new projects. One of the clients also announced a new strategy. This year there will be 5.1 billion of contracts announced by PSE, that is Polish Grid, and over 9 billion announced by PLK. There will be contracts in the framework of the SAFE program. We have to stress as well that there will be more stability due to new financing models and structures. which perhaps will reduce the fluctuation of the value of announced contracts. As well as I can remember, the increase of financing from the railway fund should reach more or less 10 billion. It should guarantee more stability to the to our client PLK. So summing up, the year really was very good. The upcoming years should be good as well. Thank you very much. Now going to the general construction, Czarek. Ladies and gentlemen, so the general construction had a very good year. As you can see, production at the level of almost 2.5 billion zlotys. Contracts signed 1.7, so we have 2.2 billion in our order book, which allows us to look at the future with optimism. The medium length of the contract is of 14 months. These are quite short contracts, so it gives us production for some time. We still have 500 billion zlotys of contracts awaiting signature. We have between 15 and 20% of production, as most of those contracts are construction build contracts. So I have to say that right now we execute less real estate contracts, but we perform more public utility contracts. We built more medical facilities. We also hope to obtain CPK projects. We pre-qualified in some projects, and we are in the phase of a competitive dialogue, and let's hope we will be able to talk soon about signing some contracts. Industrial division. So this part of energy and industrial construction, it was the year of reorganization. We moved some of the competencies to the railway segment to use those competencies better. We managed to fulfill what we assumed, so we treated our bids in a very selective way. All projects are first of the kind, very unique. We have very demanding collaboration with technology suppliers who don't want to assume responsibility very often for the products. I hope we will perform two projects, one in Lwówek and one it's thermic treatment plant in Tarnów. We want to obtain ISO certification, a new one, as we would like to participate in the first Polish nuclear plant construction. We submitted first offers for over 1 billion zlotys. The European Union approve the financing mechanism and the selection of the contractors, so we hope for the intensification of those activities in the future. We have many multi-segment competencies, and the certification that we've obtained indicate that the quality of our processes can face very demanding projects. Also in the nuclear sector, together with Mostostal, I I think Jacek will tell you something more about it. But these are projects very important for the Poland's nuclear safety.
Military projects. As you see here on the slide, you see shortened information of what is planned financially speaking in the military market. We have 5% of the budget for the investment. We have also the recovery, part of the recovery funds for the military, and this SAFE plan, which is destined to finance the defense capacities, which is a huge opportunity for a company like Budimex. And now going to the right, you may see how prepared we are. We have all the certificates, all the clauses, all the NATO secret certificates, EU secret certificate. We're ready to execute those projects. We've been present at the military market for a couple of years now. And some part of our portfolio is our military contracts. Defense, but also dual-use contracts. The projects that have been presented by the ministry and by other investors are offering us an opportunity to grow in the following years. It's enough to see the portfolios. In 2020 was 1.7 billion, and for this year it's 9.5 billion only for the construction investment, which we specialize at. Thank you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to comment on what's happening on the foreign markets. We are active on 5 neighboring markets, and each person responsible for the market will comment on the market in question. Let's start with Germany, Jacek. As we've already said, our strategy of Budimex and of Mostostal is diversification to the neighboring markets, of course, and Germany is a key market for us. We've been preparing for 2 years to be able to increase our presence in this market by way of creating new teams that may work in that market, but also we need to obtain certificates because this market is quite special. Also, we're creating our potential. We are expanding our facilities. We invest in our facilities so that we may produce and export to Germany. We have nowadays more than 800 employees in the services, more than 350 million in our portfolio, which we expect to grow quarter by quarter. We are centering on the steel structure bridges for railways and for roads and highways. We would like to participate in this investment programs of nearly 100 billion euros. It's expected that amount of money will be destined for the infrastructure in Germany. And now Czechia and Slovakia. The sales for 2025 is almost 500 million zlotys. This is a dynamic market. We have more than 300 employees in Czechia and Slovakia, mostly local employees. And this is a market that gives us quite a lot of opportunities. We now know how to prepare the documentation, now how to prepare bids. We have 2 contracts expecting E43, and we have been second or third in 2 tenders. And also their general direction, the Czech general direction, has 7 billion ongoing contracts for this year and 10 billion in railway. Also, we are in the competition dialogue in the PPP of D35. We've been qualified as one of 5 entities for this dialogue, and the phase is quite advanced. Now there are only 3 of us, so we are one of 3. And now Baltic countries. As far as Baltic countries, the last year was a success of signing a contract of the design part of Rail Baltica in Estonia. Now we're approaching to the end of this process. We've signed an annex until the end of July. Preparation of target price and the conceptual design. This is an alliance formula. We've already commented on that here. This is something new for us and different, but for the moment it brings us good results, increases our competencies, and also the competencies that we gained in the last years in Poland let us cooperate with global partners. And we have nothing to be ashamed of. We are part of a multicultural teams, and we are very good at that, and we're very proud of this, me also. The decisive part is for the contracting authority to accept the price and to obtain the financing, which is difficult for all Rail Baltica, not only for Estonia. So we hope that this year the final decision to continue the project is going to be taken, and we as a consortium, a joint venture, we're going to participate. If the investor accepts our conceptual design, we are going to continue. That is what the contract says. In Latvia, at the end of the year, we had a breakthrough. We signed an act of commencement, protocols of the start of execution at some sections. We've reached almost 280 million euros of executed work. And we're moving toward the Lithuanian border. Obviously, you are aware that the financing of the next stages is difficult, is a problem, but we believe that this is a strategical problem, not only technically speaking, but geopolitically speaking, which gives security to the Baltic countries. So we believe that there is going to be financing for this project in the EU. In Lithuania, we dedicated the last year to learn how to place bids. We placed 5 bids for Rail Baltica. Unfortunately, none of our bids was deemed the best, but we don't give up. We are going to try to execute some projects in Rail Baltica. We're contacting the contractors that won, and we're quite optimistic about the next stages that are going to be announced. And this is the main project in which our activity in Baltic countries is based. Also, there are some individual tenders that are interesting for us, and if something shows up, we will definitely comment on that on the next conferences. And now, going to our companies, FB Service. The 2025 was a very good year for FB Service. As far as the revenues go, we didn't reach the same level as 2024, but this was a decision of our management. We centered in local markets instead of working for the Warsaw. So our portfolio is much more diversified, and you see the effect in the EBITDA index. It's 18.4. Also, EBIT is very satisfactory. There is a considerable increase, and the reasons for that increase is the change of the waste we've been treating in our facilities. Last year, we've centered ourselves from the 19 code waste, which is a pre-treated waste, which lets us spare the Marshall fee, which was a considerable cost for our activity. In road maintenance, we're focusing on what we do the best. We finished the contract that were complicated for us. And as for the street lighting, the market has changed. There's a big competition here, so we centered in bigger projects when we have some vantage point. Cash position is satisfactory. It's of 170 million. Even though we paid the dividend as every year and invested in some capex. It was a very busy year in tenders. We have Gdańsk-Człuchów for GDDK. We are ready to sign the next road contract in Wieluń. There are several projects when we've been awarded the first place, but the same as in case of Budimex, there are some appeals to the appeal chamber, so we're waiting for the signature of some contracts where we have been awarded the first place. There are also some interesting tenders for waste management. Zduńska Wola, Hryniewicze, Środa Śląska, small tenders, but this proves that our portfolio is much more diversified. There are lots of smaller contracts. As far as facility management, you've seen a very interesting, important contracts of maintenance of the highest court building. We have 920 million in our order book. What I would like to stress that not every tender shows in this data because there have different terms of execution. And now the last slide, some numbers I would like you to remember. This has been a very good year for FB Service. We're in top 3 of the road maintenance contractors, 2,500 kilometers of maintenance. There was a record EBIT and record investment. Without entering to details, we're renovating mainly our fleet of vehicles, of waste transportation. Also, we've renewed our waste treatment installation in Tarnów, our logistics base in Kruszów, and laboratory in Kamieńsk. We've paid the highest dividend in history, 103 million zlotys, including the main part we paid to Budimex, and 5 million we paid to Kamieńsk municipality, which is our shareholder. We have more than 6.5 million square meters of maintained buildings.
Now going to Mostostal Kraków. So we had quite a difficult year full of challenges, but in the end we managed to end it with good results. Revenues reached the level of 671 million. It was a year, a historic year, taking into account our margin, EBIT at the level of 51 million, record-breaking level, very good end of the year as far as contracts signed are concerned. We managed to sign 856 million contracts, and we are still awaiting signature of 662 million zlotys of contracts. Despite our capex and the dividend, we have a very high level of cash. And now we will go to our order book, almost 1 billion. 40% coming from Germany. We think that it will increase, but we not only operate in Germany. Last year we signed some contracts in industrial area, which shows that we can perform very complex contracts in the industrial sector, both in design and build and in build formula. So record-breaking EBIT, 51 million zlotys, also record-breaking level of contracts signed, 856 million zlotys. We are intensifying our activities on German market. We joined the company Budimex Bau. The Budimex Bau company joined the Mostostal Kraków Group. We participate in tenders in Germany, and we look at this market with some hopes. We received a prize in Sweden that shows that we can perform very difficult contracts abroad. We participated in the modernization of Avicii Arena. We managed to perform this contract on time and beside that receive a prize. And now going to the nuclear energy sector, we try to inform you on daily basis about our participation in this segment. We are participating in the second phase of the construction, in the project of construction of the first Polish nuclear plant, and we hope to go to the third phase, that is signing of the contract. So, market outlook. Let me start with a very broad outlook for the next 10 years that we perceive with optimism. If we look at those 15 programs, they have a record-breaking level of 1.5 billion zlotys. Looking at those points, we can see clearly that we are present in all segments. We want to increase our market share in all those markets. We are very comfortable in railway, road segment. We want to be more present in the energy sector, renewables sector, military sector. And now looking in the short term, in the year 2025, the project announced by key clients reached almost 60 billion zlotys. This year we expect, taking into account all the programs published by the clients, we expect this value to reach 75.7 billion. That means an increase of over 50%. We are very well prepared. This program is still in preparation. We believe that local companies can fill in the breach and perform contracts with success. And now segments of the market, infrastructural construction, we think it will be very stable. As Cezary has said, we expect between 10 and 15 billion zlotys of tenders. Then railway construction that should develop. It's important to stress CPK and its railway part. There are some contract tenders already announced, and we are participating in those. In industrial construction, we think it will develop, and in the grid sector, it's also growing. Residential market, we think it's stable, and general construction, mostly public buildings, we expect a stable level of tenders. Ladies and gentlemen, we will go to ESG now. As far as ESG goes, included in our strategy, I will comment briefly on all the areas. So let's go to the E area. We have almost 100% of energy from the market coming from renewable energy resources. We are recycling or recovering 70% of soil and land. We recover at least 70% of non-hazardous waste, and 85% of the fleet owned by Budimex meets the highest emission standards. Last year, we developed many projects that support ESG policy, among other circularity policy, assessment of the exposure of the company operations to water stress, and analysis of the dependence of the company on biodiversity. We try to approximate this subject of ESG to our employees, conducting many campaigns, among others, autumn with ESG and energy campaign. We publish newsletters, informing about progress of our goals. Social area. We conducted many activities supporting diversity in the group, among others, different campaigns, competitions, webinars. We conducted Diversity Month. and participated in global mobility, Go Further business adventure programs, supporting mobility of our staff. We invite also foreigners to our construction sites. Our employees are crucial for us, as well as their development and development of their competencies. You already know that we spend more than 10 million zlotys for the development of our companies and the development of their competencies. Last year, we launched internal projects supporting development of our employees, programs for managers, Leadership Academy, Perspective Super Leader, as well as projects that help our engineers or site managers or foremen to work better. We also support our education system, especially vocational schools students and technical universities students. We signed collaboration agreement. At the moment, we have 25 agreements with universities and 50 agreements with vocational high schools. We try to present students with information about the construction market and Budimex. We managed to invite 135 events for almost 5,000 students. We had more than 400 students working as our interns. The social area is very important for us. That means that we value the well-being and safety of our employees. That is why we organized the Health and Safety Week that included almost 100% of our construction sites that joined the company in the celebration of this Health and Safety Week. We also visit our sites and inspect them in terms of health and safety standards. We inspect our subcontractors and we train them in the field of health and safety, firefighting procedures, first aid. Those trainings are aimed at our subcontractors and employees. Some key events that we organize, campaigns such as Pink October, November, campaigns promoting psychological health. And now going to the governance area.
From the beginning, we've been explaining to our employees how important ethics is, which is the basis of our activity. During an onboarding meetings, we introduced the compliance topic. Also, we have trainings on that topic, and we introduce this into different trainings that are developed throughout the company, like the Project Manager Academy. We've been developing some programs regarding corruption. There were no corruption incidents identified the last year. As far as the conflict of interest goes, we had some workshops when we would explain to the employees how to act when finding yourself in this kind of situation. And also we analyzed which areas of our group are in the risk of corruption incidents. We've been doing some internal audits regularly. There were 6 audits of integrated management systems, 6 of the production control in the company, and 35 in the evaluation system. Also 5 corporative audits. I invite you to study our report on sustainable development, where we will describe all of our actions taken in terms of ESG. And now I would like to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that we are the leader in terms of income taxes. Between 2012 and 2024, we've paid 1.585 billion zlotys of corporate income tax, because of which we got awarded as the first among the construction groups. And by seeing the last 4 years, we've paid 2.6 billion zlotys in all of the taxes paid by our companies. In 2024, we were the only construction company among 100 best contributors to company income tax. We are proud as a company to be able to support our economy. And now, of course, we center on the results, and we comment on that and on the contracting market, but also we'd like to comment on the economy and on the barriers that complicate the development of construction companies. We would like to comment on the situation about what is happening on the market concerning the awarding of the contract, concerning the National Appealing Chamber. As you see, there's an accumulation of projects in every segment of the construction. In order to this accumulation translate into growth, we need an agile system of studying the appeals. So we are now centering on this area that is National Chamber of Appeals and the appeals that are presented to the chamber. We are prepared for the 2026 to be a period of take-off to the economy, to take off. But in order to do that, we need to adjust some of the laws to the current situation and be more flexible concerning that high quantity of tenders. If you see the number of appeals studied by the appealing chamber, it was stable between 2015 and 2020. It was about 3,000 appeals. Last year, we doubled, almost doubled. We reached 6,000 appeals, and the number is increasing. What you see at the right, what is really important, there was a double increase of number of the appeals, but only between 40 and 45% is efficient. The rest is inefficient, which means they are presented without foundation or without proper justification. So we have 6,000 appeals, which expands the tendering process. the awarding process of the whole investment, as I said 2 years ago, between the tender and the signature was between 3 and 5 months, and today rarely is less than 12 months. So this translates into the development of the economy. There are 1,300,000 people working in the construction. It's 10% of Polish GDP. And when we have this kind of delays while signing the contracts, this affects the economy and may also cause the losing some of the EU funds. This is a cost for the contracting authority and for the contractor too. If we see how this works in our neighboring countries, because we have analyzed that, the appeals, the possibility to appeal in Poland, as you see, the cost of the appeal is between 7,500 to 20,000. Independently of the value of the tender. In services is 7,500 or 15,000 if above the EU threshold. So obviously for small tenders we wouldn't recommend any changes, but if you see the EU threshold for tenders that are more than 200 million zlotys, this fee, which is 20,000, is too low in our opinion, and it encourages to appeal, which expands the whole process of tender analysis and makes impossible to sign contracts, which in consequence causes the situation we are talking about. This is our experience almost every day. As you see, we've analyzed the 2025, and you may say that appeals is a standard stage of tender process now. In 2025, Budimex Group participated in 125 appeals, which means that every second day, our company needs to participate in some litigation or giving explanation to the appealing chamber. We are a construction company, not a legal entity. This expands the whole process. And if you see the cases that are really present in the media, like the Choczewo awarding, there were 15 appeals against our company, with only 2 with positive income awarded to our competition. So this is a problem for the whole market. For the whole sector, it's a systemic problem that needs an urgent reaction from our legislative body. And now, to sum up the whole 2025, for the management, this year has been a very demanding year, especially in as far as the tenders and contracts. The market environment was very complicated, but we've achieved very good results and maintained a very high level of contracts signed, more than 16 billion, and still waiting 5.7 billion, which gives a stable foundation for the future of our activities. We are going to continue with the diversification. We are going to enter new areas. We are going to concentrate on energy market, cooperate in the nuclear energy development. We've placed a tender for foundations of Polska facilities. We are awaiting the awarding of the contract. Our tender was the lowest. And we also center on our workforce. The development of our workforce is a key element in which we put our attention. There are trainings. There is a development at the neighboring markets to stabilize our presence, to gain more contracts, and to create portfolio in responsible and safe way. Thank you very much. That's all from us. If you have questions, we are here for you. Thank you very much. My name is Martyna Wróbel. I'm the Communications and PR Director in Budimex. I will carry this session of questions and answers. We have received many questions before this conference, so we're starting with those. So, first question: how is at the moment the level of hedging for steel and other basic materials? Which percent is secured for considering backlog? You know what is our backlog, ladies and gentlemen. We have our internal policy of securing materials. I don't want to tell you which percent of each material is secured, because this is our internal know-how. Let me tell you this: the securing of materials in Budimex lets us to execute safely the current contracts without the risk of having to pay this increased cost if this cost appears. Current situation, what's happening in the Middle East, is an extraordinary situation. It's difficult to foresee it and prepare, but let me tell you this: we've been carrying this responsible policy for years now. We have hedged, we have secured and stored a lot of materials. What's the perspective of profitability of the construction market in 2026? Next questions. We do not public outlook, but considering the situation, our portfolio is very healthy for the next year. Our goal is to maintain the margin of 2025. Also, let me tell you that the fourth quarter of 2025 has been exceptional because we've finished some of important contracts, so it will be difficult to repeat. But in general terms, the level of 2025 is our goal for 2026. Our portfolio is safe. We don't foresee any negative impact. Third question. The compression station Lwówek, 481 million, has been an important contract in energy sector. Which other project of that scale you expect to sign in 2023? It's difficult to say what we're expecting. We expect the signature of incineration plant in Tarnów, waste incineration plant in Tarnów, where our tender is the lowest. We also participate in some of the selected tenders. Last year, we've placed tender for 6 billion zlotys, which makes us think that we may be able to gain some other project this year. But as I said, these are very demanding projects with high risks and that need collaboration with technology suppliers. And also considering the pipeline of the projects of energy transformation and looking for new energy sources, we are quite certain that our strategy based on our knowledge is going to bring some good effects.
Does the company think, is the company thinking about more expansion abroad and and in what sectors? We are present right now in Czech Republic, Slovakia, Germany, Baltic countries, and now we are thinking about Ukraine. We have an office there, but we are obviously waiting for the end of the war. That is very difficult. And when we know that it's safe to work there, we will be very willing to participate in the reconstruction of the country. What are the key staff challenges for 2026 and what actions Budimex will take in that field, especially as far as the grid sector is concerned? Employees are very important for us, as I've already said, but obviously there are more and more challenges related to finding and hiring new staff. But I would like to say that in the past 10 years, the increase of employment matched the increase of our activity and revenues. And I think that it will be like that in the future as well. Obviously, it will be a challenge. I've mentioned some of our actions related to our campaigns at the universities. We would like to reach university students, but also we would like to start our campaigns in primary schools in order to show pupils some information related to this construction market and encourage them to choose the future related to the construction market. We want to show students campaigns necessary for our activities. We are cooperating with universities in relation to nuclear segments, grid segments, railway segments, tunnel segments. We want to participate in the education preparation of our young adults. That's one of the things that we are doing right now in order to obtain staff for our activities. I hope that we've managed to answer most of your questions, but if there are more here in this room, feel invited to ask them. Good morning. I work for Nobel Securities, and I would like to know if the weather conditions in January and February had a negative impact on construction activities of Budimex. I mean, the weather conditions in whole Europe in general were negative for the construction industry. We had to paralyze some work, but right now we would like to work at a faster pace. in order to make up for that time. You mentioned that we should expect margins similar to the first quarters of 2025. But can we expect the margins of 1 digit, 2 digits? So in long term, year to year, we want to grow by 6-7%. That is what we plan. But looking at the tenders announced, we hope even for more. Are there some other questions? Good morning. I would like to ask for the contract signed in 2026. In 2025, you hoped for 8 billion. You didn't fulfill that objective. You would like to reach 8.5 billion zlotys, and we would like to surpass that level. Seeing right now the level of the contracts awaiting signature is quite possible, and we hope that it will be much more than previous year. FBES service and review of the strategic options. Could you update us on that subject? Alvaro, or perhaps Marcin. It's still ongoing. There are no news that we could give you, but I hope that we will publish some update on the stock exchange in the first half of the year. You would like to publish your strategy. That's what I've seen in the press materials. When can we expect it to be published? Yes, we've worked very intensively on our strategy. All the divisions, all the companies last year worked on the strategy. Right now, it's being presented to the supervisory board, and as soon as it is approved, we will present you our strategy. Thank you. Good morning, Przemek Staniszewski. 2 questions. First of all, congratulations on your results. Very satisfying, but I would like to ask, because in the past it was commonly thought that a fair margin in the construction industry was of 5%. Right now you are talking about 9%, so you are doubly fair. That's a joke, obviously. And the second question, the self-cleaning issue and tenders, the National Chamber of Appeals, we've seen many publications regarding your self-cleaning procedure. Could you please develop on this topic, especially in the context of future tenders? Going to the margins, we would like to maintain our margins over 6%. Right now they are good because we are talking short term. So the backlog is good. We manage very well on the market. Some companies with a good backlog can decrease their costs, but in the long term, around the year 2030, we aim at 6%. I would like to develop on what Marcin said. Thank you. I would like to underline that we have diversified. Our service segment is much more profitable. The real estate segment, we have more than just our construction activity, and that improves our profit. And now let me explain the situation related to our self-cleaning. We think that this procedure is very positive. It allows the contractor to self-clean. If we make mistake submitting a bid, we can update this information. Seeing the number of appeals, the number of tenders, all companies will have to deal with the topic of self-cleaning, as there is no precise instruction published by the Public Procurement Administration. So there are doubts. We propose to the Public Procurement Administration that the self-cleaning procedure should be more detailed, more precise, in order to just eliminate all the doubts. Right now, it's very possible to question self-cleaning of all companies. Taking into account 15 appeals, only 2 of them were funded. So we really would like to have those procedures more precise with very clear instruction. Thank you for your answer. Are there any other questions? The management board is obviously available and will answer to all questions during the break. There is one more question from the internet. What is right now the bidding abroad? What are the perspectives for 2026? Each country is different, so we will go country by country.
Let's start with Germany. We've already said a lot. To add some details, statistically, we placed double of tenders than a year ago, one of our KPIs. As far as now, we have 7 contracts signed for bridges, which I mentioned. We see this market in a very positive way in roads and in railways. And the following quarters will bring some positive information about Germany, I think. Baltic countries, as I've already said, we're based on Rail Baltica project. What we are counting on is the follow-up of the project of the Alliance in Estonia. We don't have any numbers actually, because the Alliance is working on target price, which is viable money for the execution of this section, which is about 300 million euros. In Latvia, we expect the client to start next sections according to the contracts. According to that, there need to activate projects by 275 million euros minimum, and we're ready to execute that. This is related to the financial aspect of the ongoing projects. Also, there are other tenders for Rail Baltica, but I don't see any significant contracts in Latvia for this year. I would say some smaller works that we are trying to get, but these aren't considered numbers for Budimex. And now Czech Republic and Slovakia. As far as this region goes, in Czech Republic, there are going to 7 billion worth of road projects and 10 billion worth of railway projects. We've already said that this investment program in Czech market and Slovakia is just starting, and a more optimistic contract is Czechia. We are also in the PPP projects in D35, which is a huge contract, 2 billion euros, and this is our chance. And other PPP contract, because the Czech market is quite mature as far as PPP contracts go. If you let me, on the Ukrainian market, we have an office there, but we're waiting for the hostilities to stop. There are some financing institutes looking for space in Ukraine to start the financing of the reconstruction. Okay, so we finished the question and part. And thank you very much. Thank you for your present, and thank you for having this time with us. And we invite you to follow our results on the next conferences. Thank you.